hey, what do you want to build?
Like it's like a
Oh,
pickup line at
I
pickup line
know
at the
it's
club.
all
Yeah.
subjective. I was like,
Hey,
hey, what do you
hey,
want to build? I'm just thinking of what do you want to build, baby? Like
yeah,
what?
hey. That's the thing that gets lost within AI across the board. People are like, hey, I can hop on ChatGPT, give me my favorite recommendations, give me like, my colors and all that stuff. But they're really at the end of the day, they're coming back to I want to make a decision. I need to figure something out here. I want to do this as optimal as possible. So we're starting with the end in mind.
Hello there, and welcome to Skyman and the Bug. I'm the Bug, and that is
The Skyman.
we are here to build relationships, technology, and work on the many wonders of being a business owner and a nutcase. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to you listening to us, laughing with us, and taking the journey with us as we build businesses and relationships. Well, hello again, and welcome to our amazing podcast. I am Nikkei Roach, and welcome to Skyman and the Bug. Of course, I am the Bug, and my co-host is the Skyman, also known as Josh, the Skyman Schuminsky. Go ahead, Josh.
Hello, welcome to the podcast.
Welcome, and as you already go, as we go around and do another episode of our podcast, we want to thank you for being here, listening to our nutty group of people who are somewhat intelligent, we like to say, but we're also here to go over some complex situations, talk about tech, relationship building, and all those complexities and simplicities it takes to be able to do what you do, awesome what you do to make your life amazing and whatever's your superpower. So we cajoled, convinced, schemed to get Ron Berry in to in his busy schedule. Josh and I met Ron at the AUSA convention a couple of years ago. Josh and him got together, realizing that Ron's specialty is AI and AI integration and how to be able to work more effectively. But not only that, having the executive branch, being, wearing the hat of CEO multiple times and specifically working in the tech space. Ron, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate
Boy,
it.
that was a mouthful, Nikkei.
I know. I was just pouring all the BS, pouring it all.
You're good at that.
Just,
Man, no wonder you're in sales.
I
Hey.
know. So Ron, real quickly and super dig and dirty, or as long as you want to go, what makes you cool? One, what's the superpower? And you take it away from there. Shoot.
Yeah, no. So what makes me super cool? I've had the pleasure of traveling to 6 out of the 7 continents, so about 30 countries. So I love traveling. That's one thing. I even worked overseas in Chile a couple of years back in 2015 to 2017. So really, got had some great education. So just overall, I love technology. I love the application of business. I love the influx of different cultures and business problems. So I'm kind of like that super geek looking to figure out how technology can basically be applied to solve different problems across the board.
Cool.
So
So because you give us, because we've heard AI is the next generation and AI is great and I should have AI with my cornflakes every morning, and if I don't have AI inclusive in my organization, that time is going to forget me. Give us a really high level advantage, or what exactly is AI, just for those who have no idea what it means, because we throw it around so often, but we don't really know the applications and where all that goodness is coming from. Give us like that kind of nerdy approach to it.
oh,
But
absolutely.
but before you answer that, are you really Ron, or are you AI version of Ron?
Oh no, this is my deep fake. And this is actually not my real voice. Let's be clear. And I did have AI with my cereal. So anyway, no, I think the biggest thing is everybody thinks AI is just like this new thing. And what I have to remind people is it's been around for like eons, going back to, I guess I was first introduced to the movie Imaginary Game, where basically we introduced AI to overtake the German system was Enigma, and so we're going back to like 1948, early 1950s time frame. And so now a lot of the concepts we're talking about within AI, we have finally caught up with technology. Hardware is finally caught up. It can do things faster. I think you all said the headline today, like Nvidia is over $5 trillion because they have pretty much been in the game for that long. Now they're finally like getting a takeoff, and so more and more people are seeing like how AI can be used and be applied. And so, really, for me, it's very simply using using artificial intelligence, basically using computers to think for you that much faster. They're assuming a lot of data, different points, and they're helping you to solve a problem. It's that simple. And I think the challenge I see, what I get frustrated with, is everybody's throwing out the AI sticker, saying, "Hey, I know how to do AI, blah blah blah," and they overcomplicate it. It's almost like you're applying calculus to very simple addition. And for me, it just simply comes down to what problem are you trying to solve? What data you need to do it? And basically, what other conditions you want to apply? I'm just applying it.
Gotcha. So in a use case, let's just say without giving any, secret sauce to what you do, what's a use case where someone may need to incorporate it or even use, and we can talk about, your
Oh,
black
yeah.
box version of AI as well, but
Yeah.
give me a use case outside of using some of the chat GPT and all that other kind of stuff.
I mean, right now, I mean, I always laugh at people like, oh, I'm going to use it. I'm like, you already use AI. It's on your phone. That's what gives you recommendations based on your preferences. And so right now, we are just recently working on a pilot where we're taking in a whole bunch of information regarding distressed properties. Distressed properties are properties that are up for auction or being foreclosed, and you have people out there trying to invest in them. And they're simply trying to figure out here very simply, should I invest based on my buyer profile, my preferences? And
Mhm.
we're basically showing how AI can be used to simplify that proposition, not just the usual giving you a bunch of options, but actually making a decision for you based on your overall buyer profile. That's just one example of how we're applying our particular version of what I call decision based or contextual AI.
So if I say to myself, which I guess in a weird sort of a way, uh, just more use case, I'm going to Bojangles because, and if you don't know Bojangles, that's because you don't live in the southeast. But if you know KFC and Popeyes,
Yeah, use
just think of
Popeyes.
yeah, just think of Bojangles as your southern cousin, same version. And recently, I don't really. Well, I happen to have a child who works there, so I was just playing around, and I went up to it, and it was an auto prompt. Uh, an auto attendant. Hello, welcome to Bojangles, where you blah 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 blah, and they went at it. Is that a use case of AI, or is that just something else I'm missing?
I think that's an early application. What you're doing there is, after a while, what you want AI to do is learn. I immediately see, who Nikkei is. I know his profile. I know what he likes. And then based on more and more information I can get, whether it be the daytime, the morning time, maybe I'm gonna offer him breakfast. If it's lunchtime or dinner, I'm offering him like those options. And then I'm gonna say, okay, let me look back at his order history. What has he ordered in the past? What is he either allergic to, or what his preferences are, and so I can make the overall transaction a lot more seamless and a lot more quote unquote personalized for Nikkei. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Cool.
So let me add on a little bit to that. So basically, the, the AI is learning, hey, well, Nikkei likes milkshakes. Well, we have a special on milkshakes. They're going to do a suggestion, hey, Mr. Nikkei, you have, in order you've passed, in the past, you've ordered a chocolate milkshake. Right now, they're on special for 10% off. Do you want a milkshake? So it's learning from your past transactions.
Gotcha.
And
So
then, and then also based on the information it may have access to, it may have seen, hey, I see you already have these other things. Let me think about like, hey, he's got kids, he's got families, blah blah blah. Maybe I'll also offer him up tea, a gallon of tea, not just one small thing. So I can think about a bigger transaction beyond just Nikkei, but maybe I want to like also offer him like an incentive for his family. So
gotcha.
that leads to a bigger sale.
So just as going with the same product idea, the same apply can be applied, say, as you had indicated earlier, with the real estate component, being able to do that, and it might be a same situation as a manufacturer, and they need all this, and they need all this, you know, this is what they order this time of year, as opposed to back in the good old days, you go and look at all the invoices and say, okay, they order, 2x4s in December because whatever reason, if we're talking about a builder. Are you talking about something like that using, the machine learning or ML to be able to understand or to build a system to help that organization do cool things for less or faster, I guess?
Absolutely, because then it also becomes much more what I would call contextual. Like, what is your situation? Because, hey, Thanksgiving's come up. Let me offer him this. Christmas is coming up. Let me offer him this based on his past history, based on things he's done in the past. And so let me be more effective in that regard. And
Right.
so really I'm looking at these, and then I'm also looking at, hey, the more I know about you over time, I'm basically putting together this puzzle, if you will, filling different pieces. So I have an overall composition to know who Nikkei is. And I know exactly what to offer him and when and what
Okay.
context. And I also have your history saying last year more than four. And now I see he's done these other things. And you offer them. And I can also offer you, because that's the other thing. When you bought a house, you just didn't buy it wasn't just a one-time thing. You had to get services. You had to get a landscaper, you had to get someone doing a repair. All
Mm,
these different things you had to get, you had upgrade certain conditions. You had to get movers, and so it becomes much more of an ecosystem self than just a transactional play.
gotcha.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Josh.
So like, so now, so say you're using your Bojangles thing as an example. Now you drive up. Hey, Mr. Nikkei, would you like your fish sandwich again? And do you want a tea with that?
Why are you doing that, man?
We have a
Why are you
British
telling me?
Southerner. What are you talking about?
He knows I like fish sandwich, and I have an addiction to fish sandwich at every restaurant I go to.
Okay, someone from like Manchester. Go ahead. Yes,
Go
sir.
ahead. Go ahead. Some fish and chips, by the way.
Would
I
you like
hate
a
fish and
biscuit?
chips.
Hey, it's supposed to be
I hate English fish and chips, by the way.
it's
It's not.
supposed to be an AI, so I'm using a different voice.
The British Southerner. Okay, that's good.
I'm not a Southerner. I'm a Northerner.
He said
Southern
Southern England. Okay.
Bojangles is in the South. It's not in like the UK.
No, the people have no idea what that is, and so, but they probably know what KFC is. So, as I said, Bojangles is like the southern United States little cousin is KFC, even though KFC was created in the South as well. Funny, all those chicken joints were made in the South: Popeyes, KFC, and some other ones I can't think of. But it's Kenny
Sure.
Rogers, so whatever. So if somebody was to come to you, Ron, for your company, and let's just say Giggles and Wiggles, and I don't know what industry, let's just say, what would be the first thing you're going to ask when a company says, "Hey, can you build me an AI?" Whatever, what's the first couple of questions you're going to ask them? Just really kind of gut punch them real quick. Other than, yeah, it's going to cost you a grit, so I hope your pockets are deep, but keep it moving.
Yeah, because I can't. Yeah, I am. No, really, the first question I'm going to ask them very simply: what problem are you trying to solve? And keep it very simple. What decision do you want to try and do here? And then we start going back because here's our different approach. We're not starting with the data. We're starting with the decision, working backwards, saying, okay, you're trying to make this decision here. Then we start asking what data do you need? What data do you have access to? We start kind of going through and figuring out rationalizing. Then we're working backwards through the whole thing here. Do we have the right data set? Because we're trying to establish what I would call an overall gold master to enable you to make that decision. And then, ultimately, you have to ask the other questions of how do you measure success? Is it cheapest cost? Is it most efficient? Is like the most profit? You got to ask all these questions. So that's why, again, not to geek you out, my background is also industrial engineering. So I'm also looking at this as one big linear program. So I'm working backward trying to figure out here, you're trying to establish how do you want to optimize, make the most efficient decision based on your overall objective. And that's the thing that gets lost within AI across the board. People are like, hey, I can hop on ChatGPT, give me my favorite record recommendations. Record, I'm dating myself. Give me like, my colors and all that stuff. But they're really, at the end of the day, they're coming back to, I want to make a decision. I need to figure something out here. I want to do this as optimal as possible. So we're starting with the end in mind. So that's how we start the conversation with the customer.
Yeah. So we start the opposite way. we start clean slate, and hey, what do you want to build? So,
Yeah.
but what's with you?
The way you said it. Hey, what do you want to build?
Like it's like a
Oh,
pick
I
up
know
line at the
it sounds
club.
all
Yeah.
subjective. It was like,
Hey,
hey, what do you
hey,
want to build? I'm just thinking of what do you want to build, baby? And I'm like,
yeah,
what?
hey. Well, how do you want that? You want Java? You want C? What do you want?
I mean, I guess that's the pickup line. You come to somebody to company. Hey, you want Java? You want C plus
Yeah.
plus? What you want, baby?
Yeah, but
We're gonna
like I
get
said,
posture protector. Go ahead. Good. Go ahead.
we start with a clean slate, and but your approach is we have an end goal in mind also with how we build, with the architecture we build, but we start with like, I guess it's similar. What problem do you want to solve is what we start with. So
Makes a lot of sense. So, what is the Achilles heel of AI?
Data quality. Very
Talk me
simply
through
put,
that.
I
Talk me
think
through
the
that.
thing people overlook I mean, it's kind of like everybody's hyping of the fact of look how big our engine is, look all these different things it has here. But the one thing they overlook is like you can be like the baddest athlete out there, but if your nutrition is terrible, like if you're eating junk food or snacks, whatever,
I'm sorry.
See, you can't get a serious answer out of this one.
I'm trying to get a compelling point here, and like Josh is killing.
You killing the mojo, Ham. Go ahead, John.
You're killing
Sorry.
my every moment.
But
Anyway,
no, you talking about how big his engine is.
jeez.
I am looking for a lawsuit already from this
I
guy.
need to, you know what? I need to like do some like Shakespeare, hold a skull, like
Something.
Hamlet.
All right,
I got
go ahead.
Josh
Go ahead,
laughing.
Ron. Go
But
ahead.
anyway, thank you, Josh. No, the everybody's talking about how the how the overall elaborateness, the how complex their systems are, but underneath that, you have to have good data quality across the board.
Mm,
Um, I look at this, and again, I talked about you could be like the best. They always talk about the best athletes in the world, but if you're eating junk food and so forth, you're going to fall apart.
mm,
And you guys hear this over and over again, garbage in, garbage out, and it's so true because we talk about this whole notion of digital transformation. I go back to my early implementations where we did like client server. We went to like Java, all the different things. We would have the greatest technology in the world, but if the data was terrible, it didn't matter.
mm.
And I saw that firsthand at one client. We developed this great client server application, very innovative at the time. Um, I had hair, much thinner, but we turn it on, and then they're like, "Okay, this is garbage." It's like giving us garbage. I'm like, "Yeah, because you don't have good data." And so then we had to basically do another project. They got the data cleaned up, and then they started seeing the overall ROI. They were able to achieve the results. So I
Mm.
mean, that's a fundamental like common thing that people overlook. I write about it all the time, and I get so frustrated when hear people talking about how elaborate, how great these systems are, because
I,
that is your foundation.
yeah, in that respect, you have to respect the cleanliness or the authority of that data because
Yeah,
if it's corrupt, what about the concept of data? And it's probably using the wrong word, but data encroachment, I guess, if you will, where a person or a nefarious organization could actually spike your data to add junk in there just to screw with you, to go past all your firewalls to go into your data set and be able to screw up the calculation just because
right,
they are a very aggressive. And again, we are in the age of cybersecurity and
right,
having conversations about AI. You cannot have those without saying, okay, how secure is those data sets and how do you prevent encroachment from nefarious for competitive advantage? I mean they may not be trying to take you out for war. It
right.
might literally be your competition who's sending some nasty stuff your way because they just want to destroy you because you're the competition.
No, I think it's a great point. One of the things we have underneath, our overall security structure, it's going to vary depending on what the overall company's security foundation is.
Hmm.
You can have their blockchain because you need to be able to say at the atomic level, like who owns what, and you have to have a single version of truth. And ultimately, you're using that to build up like an overall larger layer.
Hmm.
I call it kind of like our, the overall data foundation, which is really everything has to be quote unquote identified at the atomic level. And then you're establishing that. You're also saying who owns what. And that way you're identifying this is the best version of this. Because and then you also determining whether or not you have to establish the governance data governance layer as
Hmm.
part of your infrastructure, part of your processes.
Hmm.
That further enables you to enforce ownership, defining also who has access to what, and who also gets to define that object.
Makes sense.
Like case in point, like when I was at this company, we are doing shipment transactions. Um, you need to figure out you'll get multiple transactions in, but you have to ask yourself who owns this status, who owns the advanced shipment notification,
Hmm.
who owns like this container got checked in, all these different pieces. You need to have an owner to that, or establish an order of precedence, saying who's one, who's two, who's three. So that way it helps me better govern my overall data across the board.
Makes sense. Wow. I am fascinated by the conversation about AI. And I remember when Josh and I were getting together for Solutions Afoot, and people started kind of throwing, "Oh, we want AI," and then be just because you would say, "Oh,
Yeah,
can you want some AI with those fries or something like?" It's become that common,
right.
and if it sounds like with you, it's like you first have to, what's your end in sight? Do you really need it right now? Is it appropriate for your end in sight? Because if it's not, you sort of making it too complex. Is that a fair assessment? Or
Well,
Josh, do
absolutely.
you have comments?
I mean, we've had clients, hey, we want to have an AI component. What do you mean? What kind of AI component you want? Oh, yeah, like a chatbot, like uh, talking about what? So you go down that conversation, and and one, they don't know the difference between you can have just a chatbot just reading off a script, right? Which is what they really want, or you want the chatbot learning from data like what you do, as it learns each transaction that comes in through the chatbot and stores that information and uses it again to learn from the every conversation.
Yeah, I mean, Josh, I mean, it goes back to the fact that people always want stuff, but it's almost like, your kids at Christmas and you're like, why do you want that? Why do you need that? What are you going to use that for? And nobody can answer that question. That's why I go back to my initial question. What problem are you trying to solve for? What data do you have access to? How do you measure success? And unfortunately, I find a lot of companies, a lot of people, they can answer those what I consider very basic questions.
Hmm.
And especially around how you measure success, because you get in a room, you're gonna get like of 10 people, you're gonna get 10 different answers. Nobody's gonna be aligned. And you can do a project and if you may think it's successful, but like just because you use AI, did you did you hit the CFO's metrics? You hit the CTO's metrics, and like it's gonna vary. And
Hmm.
so my biggest thing is getting people aligned around that key thing.
That makes a lot of sense. And an example I was thinking off the cuff, and Josh probably painfully allude to this, is being able to get a good foundation
Yeah,
of what you want and what's the purpose. So if we're looking at years ago, the hot button was you got to be SEO, you got to be SEO, you got to be,
yeah,
and everybody was this. Oh, you got to place this list and stuff like that, and you got to be at third or first or third on the Google whatever. And it's like,
yeah.
okay. Okay. Why? Oh, because you get all these new business. I said, but do you really need to? And the question goes back to: do you really need to be number one and number two for your business when your business is killing it at number six and seven? Why do you need to be number one?
Right,
And
right.
what is your end goal? It sounds like your question is, what are you attempting to do, and what is the necessity for you to go down this road?
No, you're spot on because I think the challenge we're all is we get inundated, overwhelmed with all this data of like what we need to be and do I need to know that? And so there is no there back in the day there was not this oversaturation of information.
Mm.
Now we need to be able to filter out what like I hear webcasts all the time and I after a while like I listen to the first 5 minutes and I shut it off because sometimes I think I need to be there, but I'm like what are they talking about? And I'm like And I'm not trying to be funny or like I'm like, I'm an expert, but I think for a lot of people is why do you need to, like you just said, why do you need to do these things? How is it going to help you get better? And also let's crawl, walk, and run. Let's go in that order. Let's get the basic stuff you need down to be most effective. I think that gets overlooked. In the case of AI, like you mentioned, a lot of people always talk about we need AI just to have this cool thing we can market. But at the end of the day, you're spending all this money and you're not getting the ROI. And case in point, I believe they talk about ChatGPT is losing millions upon billions a day. And that's because right now people are using it, which is great, but there really is no true business case driving it. And that's the other thing I also communicate to be most effective in employing AI to solve that problem. Which gets overlooked because
Yeah.
you have no clear basis on your cost drivers. You have no understanding what your objectives are. You're just doing it.
Yeah, but trust me, they're achieving their objective. They're getting everyone to use this, and their AI is learning from everyone using it.
Oh yeah, and to your point, Josh, it'll ultimately become like Facebook. As you remember, Facebook didn't figure out their business model till like 15 years in, and all of a sudden now they're making, Google's same bet. And so I think that's what's going to happen, but it's not happening now. And we're telling people on the usage of AI, and people, as you say, like 97% of the AI projects are failing just because they're not answering these basic questions.
Yeah. So I ran into a developer and I can build it with AI. I can build it with AI. He got 20% done in crap. I can't build it with AI.
Yeah.
There is some fundamental rules out there you have to understand. Like you said, there has to be a fundamental truth somewhere down in there before you build on top of that. So segueing into, and as we come to a conclusion of another episode of Skyman and the Bug, me being the most sexy one in the group, just between Skyman and the Bug. Ron, your mother will probably disagree with me on this, but this is all good in the hood.
You have to take it up with Ebony Man, 1999.
So you probably got me right. If somebody want to come and check out your superpower and really connect with you, just to continue the conversation so that you can help them to navigate the sea of holy moly BS that was sort of kind of leaning out there, just information overload. How do they get to you?
So they can, of course, reach out to me on LinkedIn, Ron Berry, Artificially Digital. That's one place. And then two, of course, going to our website, simply artificiallydigital.com. We have an info page out there. And I think what you also appreciate is we're not in the business trying to sell you like we've all dealt with ERP implementations. I'm not trying to sell you something there. It's really more of like sage advice about how to best employ this and figure out what you need based on the problem you're trying to solve. And also one of the things I also do is every week I'm writing articles just because I love doing that. Just kind of like giving people like a fair warning or giving them insights and key innovations, key things to think about as it concerns AI and digital transformation.
Thank you very much, Ron, for being here. And thank you, Josh, and everybody else who's listening, who was nutty enough to stay on this podcast this long. We really appreciate it. And thank you for being here at Skyman and the Bug. I am the infamous Bug. Josh, of course, is the Skyman.
Wow, you took my line. Jeez.
Thank you guys for having me, by the way.
All right. See you again. And thank you, fellow listeners. And we'll see you another episode. Bye for now.
Thank you.
You've been listening to
The Skyman
and the Bug. We appreciate you being here. Join us again for another episode of Skyman and the Bug. And if you have any questions, reach out to us either on LinkedIn, Facebook, and other places that you just try to find us.
Take care.
Bye.